Yemen was a great victory. 2 weeks later, the place was blown up.
There's nothing wrong with going for a run and having a kebab.
Hey guys, I've just reseated that.
The government announcing full body scanners will be installed at maximum security facilities.
The bloke walking back to the car, and so I walked outside and I said, "Oh, what are you doing, mate?"
You're listening to Romas and Chaz on Bogan Chat, the most genuine and unbiased Aussies in podcasting.
I'm not pulling that hook again because I've already done it once.
Not pulling what hook?
Starter.
What do you mean fucking start it?
The one that I have to say that line that I'll completely forget in about 10 seconds flat.
You don't fucking say, mate, you're fucking cooked, mate.
Bro, I'm a fucking unit. I'm really important, you know?
Alrighty, so for this episode, I just wanted to do this one on old mate Marky Boy and the fucking 96% of WA that seem to support him in keeping Clive out.
I am furious, right? Let me tell you, if he makes his way up to 2 rocks, he's going to cop a 2x4 to the back of that fucking cunt's ass. And when I hit him, I'll ride the fucking wave. Honest to God, he is the most narcissistic fuckwit in the world.
Did you see him at the
If I see him at the airport, mate, he won't fucking make it out.
There's a Facebook thing. There's a Facebook thing, and it's called Cough on Clive. So everyone's fucking liking this page that they're going to go there and meet him at the airport to just fucking cough on him.
You know what? If I wasted my time to cough on him, he's so fat, I would enter his orbit and I'd be stuck there. You know what, Scott Morrison, mate? He looks like an absolute fucking turtle.
Yeah, but Scotty Boy was supporting him right up until the poll came out saying that like 96% of WA supported Mark McGowan, and then that's when he pulled out.
When he saw those polls, his undies went from fucking a normal set of jocks to a G-string. That's how hard his arsehole clenched, mate. Yeah. I'm not kidding. You could see it coming from a mile away. He was getting flooded with all these messages, mainly from people from WA.
Yeah.
And now the Queensland government has said it would put WA in a more risky position to open up.
I'm pretty sure they openly came out and said Clive should that like they didn't support Clive for his push to reopen the border.
Oh, you know, I'm surprised he's committing to this because he can't commit to a fucking weight loss plan.
Yeah, no, not just that though. Like, how does he have the money to take WA to court when he doesn't have money to pay his own fucking employees?
Let me tell you, I'm in shock and I was in awe that the federal government supported that.
Yeah,
I reckon, honestly, he ran a campaign that basically slandered Labor out. Yeah. He literally ran his MP. He only ran. He doesn't want a position in Parliament.
Yeah. He's
just there to give the votes to the Liberals when it comes around election time. And it's sad to say, Scott Morrison managed to fucking skid past that fucking whole bushfire saga by his handling of this COVID situation.
Yeah.
Granted, he did all right, but he's also fucked up, and the fuck-ups are being overlooked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think he handled the bushfire situation very well at all. Because like you have a look at like the initial handling of it, and he's kind of just taken a step back and gone, "Oh, we'll let the agencies handle it. You know, they've got it. We don't need to do anything with it." Rah, rah. And then when it's all like gotten really fucking serious, he's still turned around and said, "Well, we're still not really going to do anything." Like even now, people are still struggling. How many months has it been since those bushfires? People are still struggling, living out of the back of cars and shit. And like, I understand COVID has put a lot of this, assistance on hold and what people can do. But I mean, he's not following through with any of it. Like, I get he's got to deal with the one crisis at a time sort of thing. But as PM, he should be able to, don't get me wrong. I don't have an issue with Scott as far as, some of the things he's doing. Like, I think he's handled the COVID thing quite well up until the last few months. I think he's trying to push it to like everywhere to reopen too soon. But yeah, I just think he needs to come through on, a lot of what he says.
The Liberals have always been a very economic focused government, and it's been like that for years.
Yeah.
They're not as concerned with people as they are with dollar signs, and it's shown. It's fuck, mate. I've never been a Liberal supporter, and definitely biased towards this opinion.
Mm.
But I always thought that Liberals handled government poorly. They're good at money making and money managing, but they're not good at people. They're not good at managing people whatsoever.
Yeah.
And old Dan Andrews over there in fucking over east, right? He's got people rooting the security guards and fucking getting out, and people were blaming the poor bugger, even though he couldn't really do much about it. He hired a company expecting them to do their job.
Yeah.
And then they ended up just fucking around. And look at them. They're back in stage 4 lockdown again.
Yeah. As far as Liberal and Labor in federal government go, I've always been very strong on, I've come from a very liberal family, so it's always been, you got to support the Liberals when they get in. It's good economic times, like you were saying. They're really good at making money, this, that, and the other. Like after Kevin Rudd got in, and then Gillard, they put us back in the black. You know what I mean? So, like you say, they're really good at getting us back to where we need to be financially. But when it comes to things like this, crisis management, like I just think it's been handled so poorly, like with the bushfires, and then I think he learnt quite a bit about leaving things too late before he makes a decision.
He's a piss poor emergency manager.
Yeah,
he can manage things that aren't money.
Yep.
And he does that all right, and that's coming from a hardline Labor supporter for years. I know my views seem right, and I'm supporting a left-based government, but at the end of the day, I'm more worried about people than on finances. We can make money back. We can't get lives back.
Yeah. I'm very careful because I don't want to bag him out, because look at the alternative, you know what I mean? It's not fucking great by any means.
Oh, hang on.
Nah,
what are you trying to say?
It's not.
Define the alternative.
Fucking
Are you talking about
Labor.
Anthony Albanese?
No, you don't. I can tell you, you'd be making a mistake if you got Labor in.
How so? Explain.
I think that, and this again is just a personal opinion, I think that Labor haven't really had the necessary experience as a party in dealing with an economy in a situation like this. They went through the GFC, and they spent a lot of money, but they didn't really have a plan in place to recover from that. You know what I mean?
Oh no. Okay. Let me just school you real quick.
Yeah, go on.
Right. So when the GFC hit, instead of pussyfooting around, Kevin Rudd, at the time leader of the Labor Party, put through massive stimulus package. Okay?
Yeah.
That boosted the economy by about 45% at some point. We were the only country, or one of the only countries.
Yeah, we skirted around it. Not missed
really,
it, but
we really did. No matter what economic prediction you could go through, we were always going to have some cost associated with skirting around the biggest impact.
But what I'm saying is, and I'm not digging him for spending the money, even though obviously there were certain things, that could have been done a bit better. What I'm saying is, he reacted in what could be seen as a positive way, but he had no plan to fix it afterwards, and that was clear by the fact that he was still spending that kind of money and spending it in the ways he was, even after it was shown that we were starting to recover. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing with economics. You need to keep the spending high to keep the economy recovering.
Yeah. But you don't need to be see what Mark McGowan's doing now. See what Mark McGowan's doing now. He's putting hundreds of millions of dollars into, big projects, into things like that. He's not handing it out, which is what a lot of Labor and a lot of Rudd's policies were.
There was only one handout during that entire policy, and it was the $1,500 per family.
Didn't he hand out a load of power supplements as well?
No, the state government handed out the power supplement because the power companies are run by the state government.
Yeah.
Let me give you a bit of I'll fucking touch on the power situation as well. So the stimulus package was $1,500 per family, right? Plus certain subsidies on, I think it was federal taxes and whatnot for business.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's important because it one allowed the economy to keep ticking over, which allowed us to get our head above water.
Yeah.
Which at the time the opposition, which were the Liberals, were completely opposed against.
Yeah.
And two, it increased how much businesses were able to take on because they didn't have to pay that tax. Okay, sure, it may have killed the automotive industry at some point.
Well,
but
did
it got us
WA
out
even really have an automotive industry?
Australia did.
Yeah, I know Australia, but I mean WA.
What?
We've always been resources.
We're not talking. Well, I'm not talking just specifically about WA.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the Liberals, they spent fucking God knows how much time trying to come up with a budget because they didn't want to hurt their deficit.
Yeah.
That deficit was back from 2007 when we had to try and recover. It could have been so much worse
Yeah.
than it was. We could be trillions in debt, not the US, but we're not. Anthony Albanese, not only for being just a better flat-out person, he's also not a bad money manager.
Yeah.
His policies, I don't know if you've read through them, they're not too bad. So saying that was better than the latter without researching them, mate, that's a bit fucking flat.
What do you
Let's
mean
be
by
honest.
that?
I'm saying it's a bit short-sighted that you didn't look at the opposition properly before commenting it's better than what we have. You're assuming Labor would be bad just based off.
I'm not saying that
It
they're
will
going to
be
be bad.
worse
I'm just
based
saying
off
that
of propaganda.
I don't think that they have the experience or the expertise to deal with the current situation as well as, and I'm not saying it's been well managed, but as
thing
well
is,
as Liberal have.
You can't have the experience in a pandemic in a situation like this. It's so dynamic. No party would be, I would wish no party
Yeah.
to have to deal with this current situation because no matter what you do, it's got to be wrong.
For all the fuck ups that they had with the bushfires, I think that Scotty learned quite a few things about the amount of time it was taking to react to things, and I think that he learnt just in general quite a bit from those bushfires. So I think that our borders would have stayed open a lot longer had he have not done the whole bushfires and the reactions that he had to have with that, purely because he's had all these experts through the bushfires telling him, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and he's kind of thought about it, and then at the very last second done it. And then in a lot of instances it's kind of just been, by that point not really worth doing at all, and they've had to go to the next step. With COVID, they've turned around and gone, this is what you need to do, you need to hurry up and do it, and he's gone, right, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, he was very quick to shut the borders to international travel. He was very quick to put the power in the state governments and say it's up to them when they open their borders. I know that, like, just going back to what we were discussing at first about Clive Palmer trying to open up the WA border, like, I know that he supported them from the very beginning in his legal push to open up the WA border, but now that, like, he can see everyone's turned around and said, well, hang on a minute, actually, fuck you. It's the only reason that we don't have COVID in WA is because of our hard border. He's kind of taken a step back and gone, well, actually, I want to get votes back in, so I'm just going to let this one slide.
I'll tell you this right now. He has single-handedly ensured he will lose seats in WA.
Oh, absolutely.
Christian Porter's out. He's gone.
Yeah.
People were saying the silent majority are laughing. No, they're not, because there's hardly any silent majority left.
Yeah, and I think that was quite evident by the poll that was done. I think it was done by 9 News. They did a survey saying, do you support the WA hard border? And it was something like 96% turned around and voted for the hard border. There was a hashtag that was trending the other day, which, by the way, I didn't even know hashtags could trend on Facebook. I thought that was just an Instagram thing. But not an Instagram, fucking Twitter thing. But apparently on Facebook, the hashtag I stand with Mark McGowan or something like that was trending. So I think it just goes to show how many people actually do support Mark. And I think that, I think at this next election, he is just going to absolutely walk through. I would hate to be the leader of the opposition at this point.
Lisa Harvey's been probably one of the most useless opposition leaders I've ever seen in my life. But don't forgive Scott Morrison so quickly for what he's done. Just because he's backflipped too late. The case has already been heard, right?
Yep.
I'm giving that cunt no fucking quarter. He's absolutely useless. I just want to punch. He's got one of those faces that show sincerity, but you know it's completely false.
Yeah.
Okay. He's running on borrowed time, in my opinion. But unfortunately, due to this situation, if this COVID situation didn't happen, he would be gone already.
Oh yeah.
Yep. He's counting his blessings. So I'm assuming, me personally, the conspiracy theorist in me makes me think that he wants this to keep going.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, look, for as good as it, and I know this sounds really shit, but for as good as I think that this is, starting to make him look because he's in the media more, he's showing himself to be, for lack of a better term, a wartime prime minister, because what Australia has gone through in the last year and a half, like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't tell you another prime minister that's kind of dealt with this since, a major thing like a wartime, you know what I mean? I think for as much good publicity as he's getting for the reactions he's taking on COVID, people won't forget when it comes to the next election what he has done through the bushfires and what he has done for recovery. And that's all I'm saying. I think that people will hold him accountable for, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what, national crisis there is at the time. If your house has been burnt down by a bushfire and you've been promised, all these grants and everything else, and it's just not eventuated to anything and you're still living out of the back of your car, you're not then going to go and vote the prime minister in because of the way he's handled COVID. You know what I mean? You're still going to be pissed off about all the stuff that you haven't got from being promised for your house.
If he gets back in, I'm going to be both angry and confused. He doesn't have. It's like he doesn't have a conscience towards what's happened, and it's taken him so long to realise anything.
I don't think it's that he doesn't have a conscience. I think. I legitimately think he wants to do the right thing. I just think that he doesn't have the confidence. So I don't think that he is confident in making his own decisions, and I think a lot of his decisions are being made by the party rather than himself.
Then he shouldn't be a leader. A leader needs to be confident in their decisions, like Mark. They need to be clear on what they want, and they need a clear objective. They can't sit there and promise things that won't eventuate, then go and help your mate out who's poured so many funds into the Liberal Party to try and break down WA's border. You look at the fucking polls, you fucking clench, and you say, I'm going to pull out. They're trying to act like we're stupid. We know what happened. We know that the fucking court case is over. It's going up to the fucking high court from the federal court or some bullshit. Then you've got fucking old mate Christian Porter, who's just been thrown under the bus by his party. Yeah. He penned a letter to the High Court, which got released by the news media. We've all seen it. He's lost his seat. He's gone, mate. He's not coming back. Fucking Lisa Harvey knows she's not getting the next election. They've been thrown under the bus by their own federal government.
I would be very surprised if Liberal did much advertising at all for this next election. I would be very surprised because nobody is going. I can tell you now, anyone from WA, with the exception of maybe, some of the small businesses that have lost work or potentially lost their businesses because of the border, I can tell you now, most WA guys are going to be voting for Mark. And that's not a sense of loyalty. That's not a sense of, it's not like putting him up on a pedestal or anything like that because he's standing up to the other states. It's got nothing to do with that. It is purely from the way he has defended his position. He has protected WA, and it shows. Like, look at our stats. All of our COVID cases are coming from people returning from overseas. All of our COVID cases have been from, people on ships and like very close contact. So, like the people that have come back off ships and then have infected their family, you know what I mean? None of it has been through community spread, and that is solely down to Mark McGowan's decisions. And I am very, very impressed that he has not backed down, even when under such like serious what's the word I'm looking for? So under such heavy pressure, basically, from the government and the legal system, for him to prove himself and to basically bow to the pressure. I think he's done exceptional.
Let me give you a bit of an insight on how hypocritical Lisa Harvey is. So on her Facebook page, July 3rd, she posted a picture, a cut out of the West Australian. It says, Labor's border re-election stunt. And the caption is, WA is in a major jobs and economic crisis. My priority is to fight for local WA. I'm not going to read the thing. Yeah. It's a bit of a pain. But basically what it's saying is she's implying that he's keeping the borders up for election.
No. I can see why people would be saying that, and I can see why she would be using that. But the only people she's going to be appealing to in that is people from over east that live here. I mean...
Now, here's the kicker. August 1st, the Liberal Party supports strong borders that protect the health of Western Australians.
Yeah.
We said 3 weeks ago when we found out that so many people were entering Australia without being COVID tested, we can't reopen our borders to any other states.
Yeah.
That is a backflip of Scott Morrison proportions, mate.
Yeah.
If you have an opposition leader like that, and they backflip that quickly and go from saying it's a re-election stunt, he's doing it to get re-elected, and then switches around to, you know what, we support it because that's what the majority of Western Australians want, but we're not going to say that. We're going to pretend we had this idea all to ourselves.
Yeah.
Mate, she looks like a fucking horse.
Yeah, see, at the moment, I couldn't in good faith vote for Labor for federal, but I can tell you now, it's like, unless something fucking serious happens between now and the next election, mate, I think Mark McGowan is just going to absolutely fucking glide in. I don't even think he would need to pack his desk up before the election because he's there. For me, there's no question. I think he's going to walk in.
Just reading some of these comments, mate. Why the change of heart now? Your criticism of our state leadership has been unfair, unnecessary, and extremely unhelpful.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. People see straight through them. And you know what? I find it's a problem with Liberals at all levels.
Yep. I agree. And I think that, like, the federal level of Liberal is no different to our state level. And I think that their mindset is very one and the same. But on a federal level, like you said, they're financially really quite good management. They've really got that good quality management that you need for that.
Do you know why it's good quality management? It's because they're cutthroat and they don't care.
Yeah.
Would you rather an economy that's doing okay, an economy that's doing great, but the citizens are suffering with the implementation of more contractor work? Me and you both know this. We used to both be casuals. We didn't know if we would have a job the next day.
No, that's right.
That was an initiative set up by the federal government.
Yeah.
They allowed that to happen, right?
Yeah.
That means less job security for us, but the employers get to say when we work, you know? We don't get any sick pay, which is only changing now because of the union.
Yeah.
Right? How can you, with a conscious mind...
sick pay now.
Yeah, they're getting sick pay and some form of leave after a year.
Yeah, right. Well, I remember when I was a casual, you didn't get fuck all.
Exactly right. If you were sick, you were sick.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this, Chaz. With a conscious mind, how can you support a government that fucks the lower to middle income class like that.
I don't think it's a case of fucking them. I think it's a case of they.
Well, explain how a small family's supposed to get a house and go towards their dream if all there is around is casual work.
Yeah, no, and I agree, and I think that casual work is. I think it should be limited to, you know, I I don't see. I don't know how to go about this one because you can't say you can limit casual work because there's instances where casual work is the only thing that you're going to be able to do. So for things like seasonal work or things
Traffic
like,
controllers, FIFO, that's fine.
all that sort of stuff is only ever going to be able to be casual work, right? There's no logical reason to put someone on full time for something that's only going to last 3 weeks, or that's only going to be able to do 2 hours a week. You know what I mean? I get that, but when you have a position where, say you have a restaurant that can take on, 5 full-time staff, but instead they're running 1 full-time manager and 15 casuals, I think that is when the government need to step in and go, well, okay, you're actually earning this much, this is what you're operating with, you need to take on this many full-time staff, because I don't think it's fair that people should be going and worrying about, okay, well, I've got 6 hours this week, I've got 18 hours this week, and now I've got nothing this week, There's no consistency, and I think that in those circumstances, it needs to be looked at.
You know what? It's a trap, and the federal government enabled that trap. They knew exactly what they were doing. It's predatory, is what it is, mate. You can't sit there. This is what I mean about Scott Morrison.
And it makes people afraid as well. It makes people afraid. Being casual. I know when I was casual, I felt like I couldn't say no to shifts. I felt like I couldn't ever say, hey, look, do you mind if I take on more work? I was legitimately afraid. And that was me as a teenager and like into like my early 20s. And I would hate to think that people are trying to raise families on that kind of system. And
you know what, Chaz? I did. My daughter was born.
Yeah.
About 2-3 years ago now, and I sat there on casual work, and I didn't want to ask for anything.
Yeah.
Even if I needed it, mate, I couldn't even go to my own grandmother's funeral because I didn't want to sick leave.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I'd have the job then. And that's a practice set up by the Liberals to save money. Life isn't worth more than money, man. No way. And that's why I'm a hardline Labor.
Yeah.
They fight for what I want. They fight for the blue collar. The Liberals, the reason they make so much money is because they tax the middle to low income earners, which there's more of us than what there are high income. And you know what? It has to be some form of corruption when a billionaire mining magnate can sit there, pump all this money into an anti-Labor scare campaign, get seats from the Palmer United Party, and then give all the votes to the Liberals so they get over the line. That's the only reason they won last election, chat.
Yeah.
Because of Clive Palmer. That is corruption at its core. And I don't see how that stands.
I sincerely think that both sides, especially Liberals, should be looked at for things like letting these tax cuts go, not tax cuts, like letting these big businesses go without paying tax because they're sending all their money offshore, and just all this sort of shit. Like you see these reports of this multi-billion-dollar company didn't pay any tax for this year, and it's shit like that makes you go, well, why the fuck am I losing 30 cents on the dollar? You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
I completely support something like that. And I think that this Banking Royal Commission that's just been done, I think that has made a whole wave of changes that is going to affect how people are, going to be able to get loans, all this sort of stuff. So I think it's going to be a lot harder for the government to, fuck over the small guys. But I also think that something needs to be done as far as, trying to bring Australia back to where it was 2 years ago financially without, without basically just supping the funds from the small guys. You know what I mean? This is where big business needs to step up and go, all right, we're gonna have to pay our dues now. We're gonna have to do what we have to do. You know what I mean?
How do you think Clive Palmer got where he is, mate? He had mates.
I can tell you now, he is a fucking. And this isn't. And I'm not saying this because he's trying to reopen the border. And if it goes to court and it's legally found that we have got the border closed against what the law says, then by all means, I'm all for opening the border. But what I absolutely object to is why the fuck is the federal government supporting Clive Palmer in his legal action against WA when he owes all his workers millions of dollars in wages and shutting down fucking mine sites because he's supposedly got no money. I just don't understand it, and I don't think it's fair.
Do you know what, Chaz? I hope you remember that at the next election. I really do. That shows you exactly what the Liberals are like. They will rather fuck over the little guy, try and get their way, and then when they realise it doesn't work out for them politically, they throw their fucking Attorney General under the bus.
Look, I'm not going to lie, and I'm not voting Liberal because I'm stuck in my ways or anything like that. For state, absolutely, Mark McGowan has my vote. As long as Mark is in politics, he has my vote. But for federal government, until you can see that there has been some sort of if Mark McGowan ran for federal Labor, you better fucking believe I'm voting for them because you can see his track record. As it stands, I would have to vote Liberal because I personally feel it's a two-party system. You can either vote Liberal or Labor, because if you vote for, one of these smaller parties, one, they're never going to win, and two, they're probably going to give your vote to someone that you didn't want in the first place. So you're only ever going to be voting Liberal and Labor. Let's face it. So
let me just cut you off there. Before you finish, just remember, you vote Labor, or you vote Liberal, you're voting for Clive Palmer.
Well, no, you're not.
Well, you are, because the Liberal Party will act in the favour of Clive Palmer like they did with the border.
To an extent.
Not to an extent, mate. You saw it clear as day. You cannot deny it.
No, I'm not denying it. I'm just saying I think
you're acting in the interests of Clive Palmer. There's a reason he's so hardline Liberal.
Yeah.
There's a reason he spent millions of dollars on this campaign because he's getting something out of it.
Yeah.
Just remember that.
You've
got to remember.
I think that this little legal push that he's putting through now is also turning a few heads because I think a lot of people are also asking the same question. If he can afford a legal push like this, then he can afford to be paying some of the shit that he says he can't. You know what I mean?
Mate, as long as the Morrison government's in power and the Liberal Party's in power, he won't pay a cent.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not. But if they had the chance all along, they've been in power for it, mate. If you're sitting there telling me that, eventually they'll pay.
No,
mate,
no.
He hasn't paid yet.
No, not at all.
Let me tell you a story, all right? 2007, the Labor Party started a investigation into Clive Palmer's business about not paying the workers, and for a resort he closed down.
Yeah.
After buying it, that is, he just closed it down because he wanted it to lower in value and then fucking knock out the land.
Yeah.
Right? Libs got into power. You know what they did?
What's that?
Close the investigation straight away. One of their first things. Look it up, mate. I'll show you the files.
No, I believe you.
So remember when you go to those polls, Chazza, when you walk up to that ballot and you look at your preferences, remember you're voting for the rich's agenda, and you're voting for Clive Palmer. You're voting to support Clive Palmer.
Yeah, but I think if you vote for Labor, you're voting for mismanagement. It's
You're
a
not vo-
lose-lose situation. Honestly, I think it's
Well,
a
who-
lose-lose situation. You vote for Labor, you're voting for mismanagement
You're voting
and
for
a very
see,
poor recovery.
This is the thing, right? You're
kind of
assuming
policy.
it's mismanagement based off of their party. You're not looking at their
No,
experience
this is off their track record. This is
from a
off their track
previous
record.
government. So you're saying I should base my opinions on the Liberal Party based off of what Tony Abbott and
To a certain extent, absolutely. Because don't forget, it's not like you can constantly change people within the party, but the general idea and the general way that party is run is going to continue moving forward.
That's complete shit, mate.
Nah,
John
not at
Howard
all.
ran the party. All right, let me tell you. John Howard. I'm a hardline Labor supporter, but he was a very good Prime Minister. Okay?
Yeah.
He ran the party in such a way where the Australian economy was probably at its strongest point.
Yeah.
He also banned firearms after that fucking massive bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay? He was focused on creating jobs and taxing business. This government, after the Tony Abbott saga,
Yeah.
right, is now focused on taxing middle income. If you're going to sit there and tell me,
Don't forget though, they're so focused on taxation because they've had to get us out of the financial difficulty that Labor put us in when they went through that GFC.
This is the thing. The Labor put us in. What could the Liberals have done differently?
I'm not saying that they could have done anything
you're
differently.
labeling
And to
it-
be honest,
you're labeling it as the Labor debt when it's
but-
Australia's debt.
Yeah, I know, but don't forget, my argument to this whole thing is, and I completely understand that they went through and they spent all that money. The only thing is they just jumped head first. They didn't have a recovery plan in place, and I think that.
All right, I'm going to cut you off here one more time. The recovery plan was to get business back to strength, which they did. But after the GFC, right, Kevin Rudd was ousted by Julia Gillard, which was a fucking terrible maneuver.
Yeah.
She didn't have a plan. Kevin Rudd was the brains behind that whole operation. You're going to sit there and tell me mismanagement because they didn't have a plan. The plan that you can't plan ahead for these things. The Liberals right now, what's their plan? They don't have one. Their plan is to keep spending money until the infections go. I could argue the exact same thing for this situation right now. The Liberals do not have a plan.
I think in this case, I think only time is going to tell, and I think that you'll see the changes that you see over the next few months, especially where WA is concerned. I think that it will give you a good indication as to what's to come over the next few years.
I don't have faith because they sat there trying to fucking open our borders, which would have increased our risk of infection, damaging the only thing keeping Australia afloat. If you're gonna sit there and tell me that they're good money managers and then attempt to cut their own fucking jugular, I think you're a moron, mate. Honest to God. And the fact of the matter is, they need to start planning now if they want to have a plan. We're already fucking 70% in deficit again.
Yeah.
This is past GFC standards. So 5 years from now, are you going to be calling this the hole that the Liberals put us in? Or are you going to call it the COVID debt?
I think that you would be able to say that, okay, we've had this crisis. We had nearly 2 years of natural disasters and plague and whatever else. If we can be seen to have positive uptake in jobs and tax and everything else, so we start to get back on track, I don't think you could turn around and say it's something that Liberal put us in. Okay, so Julia Gillard took over from Rudd, stabbed Rudd in the back and took the seat over. But rather than worrying about her own career, she should have had a solid plan in place, and the party should not have let her take that role on without that plan in place.
Okay, you keep harking on about not having a plan. Let me just say, about 2 years after that GFC, when Labor lost the election, our economy was picking back up. Okay, I've got the poll right, I've got the chart right in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay, our economy saw an upturn of about 42%. So what you were saying was they don't have a plan because our economy was in shambles after Labor put it up. By the time the Liberals took over, our economy was already recovering. What's the go there?
Okay,
if you're
so
gonna...
I would be very surprised to see if it was actually recovering. As far as I'm concerned, there was no plan in place for recovery.
That's what you don't understand, though. The reason the spending went through is forward thinking, because they're looking to save these businesses going under, because they will lead to the nation government. They put so many billions into Qantas at the time, which, let me remind you, during the COVID-19, the Liberal Party didn't want to have any share of an airline. 2 weeks later, they backflipped and took some of the share of the airline.
Yeah, because it was going to fold. I'm fairly certain that Virgin folded, or they're in the process of being bought out.
They went into liquidation.
Yeah.
They had the choice to save those jobs for little less than about, I think it was 200 and something million, to save the airline and the jobs. So basically what you're saying is, I bet if Liberals were in, they would have done a better job. You can't sit there and say that, because no one would know. That's like me saying,
I'm not saying that they would have done a better job. I'm not saying
that's what you're implying by saying,
No.
I was mismanaged and I think it could have been done better.
No.
Explain to me how.
I think it could have been done better. They could have had a stronger plan in place where that they could actually go, right, this is exactly how we're going to do it, and not just go, we're just going to spend all this money and hope the economy recovers. I'm not saying that Liberals could have done a better job at all. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I think that it was managed poorly by Labor. I'm not saying that Liberals could have done a better job. I'm just saying that it was poorly managed.
Labor handed the economy over to the Liberal Party in a state that it was healing.
Okay? I wouldn't say healing. I would say surviving.
You can argue all you want, but the graph here is showing it's going up. And I'm looking at ASX.
Again, I wouldn't say healing. I would say surviving.
Mate, surviving is flatlining. This is going up by 5.33%. By sitting there saying, you're downplaying their achievement.
I'm not downplaying their achievement. I think that
the economy's recovering.
I think that they were dealing with a very difficult situation, and I think that, yes, by spending the money that they spent, it helped us avoid, or not avoid, but skirt.
It didn't help us. It didn't help us. It absolutely saved us.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. I think that it helped us skirt around a GFC, but my argument to this whole thing is, I strongly feel that there was no legitimate recovery plan. I think that their whole thing was spend money and hope the economy recovers. And I'm not saying that that didn't work, or to a certain extent. I'm just saying I think that there was no legitimate plan in place.
I've given you all the points as to why it wasn't. You're not taking the points on board. It wasn't random spending like you're implying. It was targeted spending. Peter Costello, mate, treasurer at the time, he was a fucking legend, mate. He spent like 82 fucking hours in like less than 2 days fucking working through this stimulus package. It wasn't just give everyone money and hope for the best. It was targeting industry and it was targeting jobs. It was targeted and it worked. You're arguing that it was random spending. If it was random spending, they would have just thrown money at the wall and got done and gone.
Yeah.
They targeted the industry that they knew needed help, which was the building industry at the time. And they gave $2.7 billion in tax breaks for equipment purchases, which allowed business to expand. It's all there. It's in black and white. There's a reason we're looked upon by the world as leaders. It's literally called Labor's GFC legacy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, like I say, I'm not saying that what they didn't work. I'm just saying that it wasn't planned. And I think that they got very lucky.
It's not planned when it's literally right in front of you. I just fucking wrote it out to you.
Yeah.
You are a fucking Liberal Party sheep.
Nah,
Let me
I
tell
don't
you.
know, man.
My time this advertisement's got to you, man, because I don't know how many times I have to say it to you, dead set, right here. I'm breaking down every single thing that was spent, and why it was spent.
Yeah.
And you're still pushing on about it wasn't planned. I don't know how much I can drill into your head that you put $187 million into training places. If you're saying that putting money into future training isn't forward thinking, then you're a fucking gronk.
Oh no, it is. It's forward thinking.
1.5 billion to first home buyers.
Yeah.
What does that do, Chaz? Creates jobs. 4.8 billion to pensioners and low income earners and self-funded retirees. That stops people taking money out of their super like the Liberals allowed. Do you know how much money that cost?
Yeah, go on.
Fucking shitloads. 3.9 billion for pre-Christmas payments to low and middle income families at $1,000 per child.
Yeah.
That kept us through Christmas, kept doors open, kept business running. And you're telling me they didn't have a fucking plan?
I think that they got
I
lucky.
want to die.
I think that they got lucky. That's
Oh,
I strongly believe that they just I don't know, man. I think that they got lucky.
You are a sheep.
Nah.
You are a sheep. So you sat there listening to Clive Palmer's ads. You're a moron.
Nah.
Wake up. You better blame the unions for that one. Huh? Huh?
Oh, mate. I don't know. I can't come back with anything because I don't have anything, but I'm telling you now.
You're a sheep.
Nah.
GDP growth over the last 10 years from 05 to 15. While Labor was still in party, you can see our GDP going up. I'm going to send you this fucking graph.
Yeah,
You
go on,
better
send it.
blame Labor, though.
Send it.
I'm going to post it straight in fucking Bogan Chat, mate, because you've got me fucking... I'm going to fucking strangle you. GDP per growth. Look at us compared to Canada. The US.
So what about after that? What does it do after December 2015?
Oh, because as you can see at the graph, it's the last 10 years. After 2015 is when the Liberals were in party. So do you really want to see it crash?
Yeah, go on. Reliable sources only, good sir.
This is trading economics. That's where I do my trading.
Yeah, okay, I'll pay that.
Oh, 2017. Oh, it's all going well.
Hang on. Yeah, no, I've got nothing.
Yep. You're a sheep.
All right. I fucking...
That's you, cunt. I'm married, so I want to root sheep, so you better be careful, mate. Oh.
All right. You've swayed my opinion. You've swayed my opinion.
I don't know what I had to use. I used Clive Palmer.
Yeah,
I
Clive
used the
Palmer's a
fucking-
bit of a fuckwit.
Supporting Clive Palmer by supporting the Liberal Party. His business is getting away with massive fucking tax breaks because he's mates with Scotty from marketing. Oh,
You've swayed my opinion on this.
I'll give you one thing.
I'm somewhat actually quite impressed as to what you've proven, but I strongly believe. What? Go on.
Oh, no, I'm waiting to listen to the rest of this so I can start fuming even more.
No. I'm bagging out Clive for the rest of this.
Oh, no, okay. No, he's a fucking... I want to come and bash the cunt. Perth Airport. Meet... Oh, man, I got mates. All right, hang on. I got another graph for you. Oh, mate. Tell you, hang on. Keep talking. I'm just going to find the graph again. You know what the net worth of his company, Mineralogy, is?
Mate, I couldn't tell you what companies he's got. I'd be surprised if any of them are even fucking legally running anymore.
Yeah, he has a few. So he has Mineralogy, which is a mining company run out of Queensland.
Yeah.
So he spent, 60 million on the election? The net worth of his company is 600 million. That's a drop in the ocean. Okay? And that's per year. And that's only as of 2018. It can only go up because metal's expensive. Okay?
Mm.
Now, with all the Liberal tax breaks, are you going to sit there and tell me that he didn't make a lot of money out of it? I bet you he's paying either 0 to 0.5% of tax on the income.
Yeah.
Because of the Liberal. They don't tax business. That's their rule. And that has been their rule for the time. John Howard was the last Prime Minister to tax.
Yeah. I don't think he's on his own though. I think that there's quite a few other people that are not paying their way.
Mate, I guarantee you, but none of them are as prominent or as cocky as Clive Palmer. Queensland Nickel, fucking that shut down.
Yeah.
Palmer threatened to sue Jordan Shanks for $500,000 for defamation of a YouTube video because he named the video "Dense Humpty Dumpty," a profane nickname that included fatty.
I don't even have to watch it to know what it's fucking about.
Clive Palmer ended up going through with that. I don't know how he has this much money to sue people when he doesn't have enough money to pay his own workers, which is apparently fine to the Federal Liberal Party because they will support a man through thick and thin, especially if he's one of their brothers. He spent millions of dollars trying to defame the Federal Labor Party, which worked, fortunately.
Yeah.
He gained a lot of votes, himself and Pauline Hanson.
Didn't he actually win a few seats when he ran the first time?
That's why. That's why the Liberals won. So they were pretty even on votes, but then the Australia United Party, or Palmer United Party, gave their preference to Liberals, and that's why they won.
Yeah.
Not to mention his hoax application. I don't know if you heard about this.
Hang on, his home what?
His hoax application for coming to WA.
What do you mean hoax application? I thought he legitimately wanted to fucking come here.
So it was revealed that he didn't actually apply for an exemption.
Oh, righto.
So it turns out his pilot attempted to fill out the paperwork, but he filled it out fraudulently in such a way that Clive Palmer, according to the paperwork, was his female wife. So WA police looked at the paperwork and sent him packing. And he doesn't want to do quarantine either, apparently.
Yeah.
And he's here to spruik his massive supply of hydro... Fuck, I don't know how to pronounce that. It's basically a... It's to treat malaria. He's touting it as a COVID-19 cure.
Yeah. This
is Clive Palmer, by the way. So his reason for coming over was to help, apparently, because he reckons he was in a position to obtain large amounts of this malaria drug that supposedly cures COVID-19.
Yeah.
So not only being a fat cunt,
Is this what I was reading earlier about fucking Mark turning around and slamming him saying you're full of shit?
Yeah. Yep, that's right. Mark, he's cunt's a joke, honest to God. I don't know how anyone can take him seriously. They can't exactly throw him out of court. Yeah. They might have to train him out.
I can tell you, I don't know. I legitimately don't know how this court case is going to go because Mark himself has turned around and said that there's a good chance that that he can lose this.
Okay. So constitutionally, Palmer's right. According to the Constitution, Australians shall have free access wherever they want. Now, under the Emergency Act state, they can't overrule. As far as I'm aware, could be wrong. I probably am. Under a state of emergency, I believe they can.
Well, I mean, WA. I don't think WA is in a state of emergency at the moment, are they?
Well, sorry. In an emergency or a pandemic, I use the wrong word. In a pandemic, I believe we can overrule the Constitution. However, it'll be up to the courts to decide what overrules what. Technically, Christian Porter is right. He's the Attorney General, and he's supporting the Constitution, but morally, he's wrong.
Yeah, look, I don't think Clive is very welcome in WA, and I don't think that he has a very good track record of making good decisions. So I think that he just needs to take on the advice of the WA state government, the federal government, Queensland government, and 96% of the Western Australian population, and take a fucking walk.
Fuck off. We're full.
Basically.
What good is money if it costs lives?
Yeah. Well, look at the figures. WA was the only state to have a positive upturn in their economy. I think it was the last few months. So why
Lisa
the
Harvey
fuck?
Would
Hey?
Lisa Harvey would disagree.
Yeah. Like, why the fuck would you want to put all of that at risk. Mate, I can go to the shops and not have to put on a mask. I don't have to worry about, whether I'm shaking hands with someone. I don't have to, obviously you're going to take general precautions and, you sanitize your hands all the time. You're wiping down trolleys. You're still, looking after yourself and taking those necessary precautions. But I'm not scared. You know what I mean? Like I'm not afraid to walk near someone. I'm not afraid to, be within talking distance of anyone. Mate, I can tell you now, when all this coronavirus first started, mate, I was fucking packing myself. Like, I wouldn't touch trolleys. It was just, it was ridiculous. And now it's a certain level of, like, normality. You know what I mean? Mate, I can tell you, if those borders reopened, it would just be back to everyone's going to be worried. Everyone's going to be panic buying. Everyone's going to be fucking staying at home because they're afraid to go out. It's not going to be pleasant, and nobody wants to return to the way it was a couple of months ago. And to be honest, I think that Mark McGowan has saved, countless lives by keeping this border shut. And I think that any magistrate or judge to overturn that rule, that decision, would be making a serious mistake. But in saying that, if that's the law, that's the law. And, who are we to say that you can do something that's going to go against what the law says? So, if it's decided that if it's decided that the borders have to reopen for whatever legal reason, then so be it. But I can tell you now, Mark won't have it, and straight away going to put into place other measures to keep us safe. So he's already said that there's a strong possibility if the borders have to reopen, we're going to go back to regional borders. So if that's something that he has to do, then so be it.
If the borders, and God hope they don't.
Yeah.
$15,000 hotel rooms, please. That need to be paid by the person willing to stay. I'm now uploading some photos to the Facebook page to our Discord here, which you could enjoy reading. Two of the posts are from, well, all three of the posts from Lisa Harvey's Facebook page. Two of them are accusing Mark McGowan of the re-election stunt for closing the border.
Yeah.
And the other one is accusing him of not spending enough money, which is quite interesting. I'm just in shock that we've never had such a silent opposition. They have nothing to push him on, and I don't think ever since he got elected that they did have anything to push him.
Not really, no.
When I voted for Mark McGowan, because I voted Labor for state election, I met Mark personally some years ago while supporting a member for his cabinet, Stephen Price down in Forestfield. I met him personally, and I've never had a politician come up to me randomly and start chatting while I'm looking at a water fountain. And I got a sense for the guy, and he's very sincere. He knows what he's talking about, and he's not snobby and he's not stand-uppy.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of respect for the guy in that when it comes to that kind of thing.
I've got to say, I strongly agree with that. Purely, and I apologise for cutting you off there, but my grandparents used to live on a caravan park in Rockingham, and there was a whole thing about it being shut down, and they were going to be kicking all these people off. Mark McGowan, my grandparents had called his at the time. I don't think he was the state leader. At the time, he called. My grandparents called his office and left a message saying, we're out of options. We need help, and nobody is helping us, and we don't know who to go to. Mark McGowan actually called up my grandparents personally on his way home from whatever event he was at in Perth at the time. So he's called them on his own time at like 6:30 at night, driving down the freeway, to have a chat with them about what was going on. Because of that, the local council got involved, and they rehoused a lot of the old guys that were there, and really looked after him. But I can tell you, Mark McGowan, he has absolutely at every opportunity gone out of his way to help every single person he possibly can. And I think that him turning around and saying a big fuck you to these other states and we're keeping our border shut, and he's not even said it like that. He said we love you guys, but you got to do your own thing. We're over here. Leave us alone. So
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
nothing but respect for Mark. So
The balls of steel of that man. Everyone else would have bent to political pressure, but
absolutely.
this man, he knew exactly what he needed to do, and he knew exactly what we wanted, and he stood by that.
Yeah.
And that's one in a million in a politician. Let me tell you. Apologise if you're listening from out of state, but it's the truth. They're whinging and saying that we're killing their partners and all this bullshit. Honestly, mate, if you want to work here, live here. You're in a high-paying job, and I'm sure if don't sit there with the opinion that you're the only one who can do that job, because I'm guarantee you, as soon as you leave, there'll be 5 other people who'll be way willing to take that position. So don't feel inclined to stay. We understand that it's waiting for your loved ones and not knowing when they're going to be home, but you got to remember they made that choice. You made the choice for the money. So don't try and take us out for supporting what we want. Most West Australians, probably 89% according to the West Australian, which is pretty fucking bare at times. We all support him behind.
Yep. Absolutely. I like I say, Mark has nothing but the respect and the absolute defence of almost every West Australian, and I think that the only ones that the naysayers or the people that are saying that what Mark's doing is wrong, I think are people from other states that are missing family. They're wanting to get home. They can't get in to see their family, things like that, and while I completely understand that, and it's not an ideal situation for them, and like I say, I have no doubts that this hard border has cost jobs and families and relationships and money and everything else, but it's also saved the lives of West Australians. And to me, if it saved one, then I think that that's worth it. So
You know what? You're right. I agree. If you're naive enough to want to attack us, and that's your grieving process, by all means.
Yeah.
But understand why we're doing it. We're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for the rest of Australia, because if we go down, the economy's gone.
Yeah. That's another talking point, but no, absolutely. I think that WA is too much of a cash cow for the rest of Australia for us to fail. And I think that by us keeping our borders shut, us having a strong economy is going to provide the GST and the taxes for the other states to live on and recover on, as they do every other day of every other year. But that's another point. But that's just my opinion anyway.
And that's what we're here for, opinions and facts, mate. Sure, you've learned some facts today, mate.
I think Mark has made nothing but strong and correct choices.
Well, I hope I've changed your opinion today. Otherwise, I'll be calling you a moron for the next time we meet.
I'm not going to say you've changed my opinion, but you've definitely given me something to think about, because, like I say, I got nothing to come back on with that, and I'm willing to admit that some of my opinions are outdated and probably
biased.
Yeah, quite biased towards certain situations, but it's definitely something to think about. But overall, like I say, I think that I think Mark's gonna walk in this next election, because I don't think that there's many other people, regardless of parties. I don't think there's many other people that could do what he has done and keep the respect of absolutely everyone.
Correct.
So,
do you know what their one attack line is? Labor's soft on crime.
Yeah.
However, I don't think they realise that it's actually the judges due for sentencing.
Yeah.
They're there to enforce what the state government puts into law, and if they're not enforcing it, then that's a judiciary problem, not a government problem.
And quite often you'll hear, police themselves making comments of things like, what's the point? We lock them up and then 3 hours later they're back out, or they're sent to court, and they provide all this evidence and all these man hours and everything else to try and bring these people to face the music. And then, the magistrate will turn around and say, okay, well, no criminal record or whatever, and then just let them back out,
Yeah.
I think that, their whole thing about soft on crime is purely a bullshit excuse for magistrates who either feel that their hands are tied for whatever reason, or that, they don't want to enforce the laws that are there. And I think that that's probably another discussion, but anyway.
Oh, don't worry, mate. The next one will be much quicker than this one. I apologise for my part, but I'm sure Chaz is over guys for. Oh, he's not going to do it.
I missed what you said, but yeah, all right. Thanks for that one, Romas, and I will. I'll see what we can get sorted for this next one.
Just for the record, the next one will be a lot earlier than this one.
No more 3-week waits.
We've only just found time. Well, I've only just found time. I don't know what this cunt's excuse is.
I'm just a lazy cunt.
I'm big brain. So thanks for listening, and
Anyway, guys, thanks for staying tuned and listening the whole way through. If you've made it this far, stay tuned a little bit longer. There is a bit more just at the end. Guys, just wanted to give a quick shout out. If you want to catch our shows regularly, we are on the Bogan Chat Discord page. Links are going to be below. Also, you can catch us on our new YouTube page, which will be going up hopefully sometime this week, and soon to be Spotify. If you want to catch us any other way, like I say, just jump in the Discord and you can chat with us directly. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening and stay tuned. Fucking Romas, you fucking dog.
I don't think I could break into your house with all the Liberal Party fucking stickers. Probably have a nice big poster of ScoMo on your fucking window.
Mate, fucking look. I don't like him, but
I
don't like him, but he's the lesser of two evils.
Oh, Chaz!
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Chaz!
I said that you made me think. I'm thinking.
I don't think you have a brain. You're a fucking liberal. Fuck.
Cause I don't wanna walk away.